We've been talking about the fact that it's International Women's Day today, so it's time to sort of look at what it's like to be a woman in business. How friendly is today's workforce when it comes to balancing babies in the boardroom? That's a question that hasn't gone away. And as technology helping women to get ahead. I'm joined from New York by Michelle Kennedy, who founded Peanut, a new app which has been nicknamed Tinder for mums. And here in the studio by Helena Morrissey, who was CEO of an investment management company by the age of 35 and set up the 30% Club to get more women onto boards. And Rita Clifton, CBE, chairperson of the branding consultancy Brand Cap. Good to have you all with us. Happy International Women's Day. We've got some big questions to discuss. Rita, I'm going to start with you. What do you think the big issue is still, the big challenge, the big obstacle facing women in business?
Well, obviously the numbers aren't great. I mean, on the surface, things have got a lot better. I mean, when I think back to being a woman in business in the 1980s, I had a baby and came back. That was very unusual at that time. You've got 25% of women now on FTSE boards, but still, there are 10 female heads of state, 95% of the world's most important organisations are run by men and so on. So women still have a way to go. There are things one could do, obviously, with flexibility, with childcare, but role models, I think, are a really critical thing. And what's more, women have got to be prepared to put themselves out there. They need support for doing that. The technological world is really helping that with supportive communities, but it's time to go from being a cheerleader to being leaders, and that's what I think we all need to expect, both from ourselves and also from each other.
Helena, we've known these things for a long time, particularly when it comes to childcare and flexible working, the importance of having mentors and things. Why are things not changing faster?
Because I think a lot of businesses treat this as peripheral to the main event. They do special initiatives as if it is a special interest issue. Whereas I think it's actually core. I think that the world is crying out for different types of leadership, and that technology that we all talk about actually is changing the nature of what makes for a successful business. It means you have to connect better with your customer. It means that you have to be able to have networks. And I think women or feminine attributes can be very valuable, and increasingly so, but it's not really how most businesses are perceiving this. They're doing this as sort of add-on to the main event.
Yeah, so the transparency perhaps in the tech world could help women. Michelle, if I could bring you in, how do you think technology is making women more powerful?
Yeah, I think we have to give women tools everywhere to connect with other women. I think one of your guests just mentioned it's about bringing women together and finding mentorship and finding support. And if we can use technology like people to bring communities of women together, to empower each other, then that's what we should be doing. And it's long overdue, actually. This entire generation of women who have an expectation of being able to use technology in every other area of their life should also be able to use it in order to connect with each other. To find mentors, to find support, to find potential business partners, so that we can have, more innovation and more exciting innovation for women and technology.
So Rita, one of the things Michelle's pointing out is one of the things that can be a little bit difficult to talk about, how women need to help themselves. What's your advice on that?
What do you do? Well, I think there are a couple of things here. I mean, clearly, you need to make sure wherever you are in your life, you are staying on what's going on in the world. That also means thinking about how you're presenting yourselves. But also, I think it does need a change in workplace culture, which is, if you haven't made it to chief executive by the time you're 45, then you're not going to make it. That's a male executive trajectory. I think we need to be much more open-minded about women coming back into the workplace in their late 40s, 50s, even 60s. There are many women who are very capable of making a second or third stage surge into the workplace as leaders, and we need to be much more broad-minded, in my view, about that.
And Helena, is that where the issue of children comes in? That actually women can say, I can have my children, they can go to school, and then I can have a career. It's still possible, it's not over.
Well, particularly if longevity is greater for all of us. I mean, young people now being born or even at school or graduating are now going to expect to have not just one career but several, whether they're a man or a woman. And we've got to sort of adjust our mentality, I think, and obviously not to squander that great talent. I do think as well women can help each other. I mean, you mentioned about women helping themselves, but I think it's important to recognize that we can help each other, that this isn't a sort of zero-sum game, that there's a lot of roles there that would be great to see women taking.
Yeah, mentoring, helping each other, flexibility, Michelle, these are all terms we often hear in relation to technology. Is that why technology could be so vital now for women in the workforce?
Yeah, you know, this is long overdue that we are using technology in a way that we're using it in other areas of our life. And I think that's the thing that people have overlooked in the past, why we haven't had developments where we haven't seen things coming to the forefront, perhaps because women actually ordinarily weren't working in industries like technology. And now we're doing things where we're growing up, we are having children. We do need technology to support us in those areas of our life too. And so I really believe and agree that there is no traditional trajectory in terms of your career now. There aren't barriers to entry just because you've become a mother. And I think if we can use technology to enable that and to find our support networks, that's certainly our philosophy at Peanut.
I wanted to quickly ask you both, business leaders, political leaders set the tone very much for the society we live in. Given the political climate we're in at the moment, Rita, how important do you think female leaders are right now?
It's crucially important. I mean, I remember having a role model when I was developing through business. It was incredibly important because it felt just normal. Why wouldn't I want to run something or whatever? So having women in charge, but also the tone and the style that women tend to have when they're in management is quite different from male culture in businesses. I mean, you know, it's not a contentious thing to say. The great thing about the digital age is that all of these things become visible, and that is a very, very good news.
On that note, we'll have to leave it. Thank you all very much for joining us. Happy International Women's Day.